Good morning, readers. Well, it is Friday, and that means another video for you. And today we have A Whisker's Breadth, which is book number 9 in the Reg Rawlins Psychic Investigator series. That is on for free this weekend only. And I have a number of other freebies listed in my blog post, including the first in the series, What the Cat Knew. So you can pick up 2 books in the Reg Rawlins series for free today if you like. And there are lots more options in my blog post. So I will post links for that. And I thought I would do another short reading from A Whisker's Breadth. I previously read from the first chapter, so I'm going to read from a little bit farther in this time. See if this whets your appetite. A lot of things like that have happened to me, and it seems like it's just getting worse. It used to be just occasional, bizarre, unlucky accidents, but it's like it's accelerating, intensifying. So it didn't start with the house in Colorado. Vivian shook her head. No, there were other things before that, and since then. Reg leaned back, thinking about that. She picked Starlight up and held him in her lap. She closed her eyes and thought about the emotions around Vivian, her aura. Is that why you're so worried about the black cats at Francesca's? I don't know why I'd worry about little things like that. Vivian shook her head. I've already got more than my share of bad luck. It isn't like one black cat is going to change that. Reg didn't correct her that there had been 4 black cats. Vivian had made her point. Why worry about cats when she had boulders crushing her house and runaway trucks making straight for her? So you're not worried about black cats? A little, Vivian sighed. I'm kind of paranoid about anything that's supposed to cause bad luck, but it isn't like avoiding these things is going to change anything now. When did this bad luck start? It's not just bad luck. I don't have trouble getting a job or having to pay unexpected overage fees on my cell phone or things like that. I've even tried buying lottery tickets, and I can still win the prizes if I buy enough cards. It isn't bad luck. It's these accidents, these near-death events. And it started, I don't know, Vivian thought back. She closed her eyes and her face relaxed as she accessed her memories, trying to identify when the accidents had begun. I was still pretty young. I was camping with my family. We did that kind of thing a lot, went to interesting places, and camped out while we explored them. I was attacked by a lion. It got into the tent and dragged me off. Reg leaned forward, her jaw dropping open in shock. She couldn't think of what to say. It was one thing to calmly talk about boulders rolling down the mountain to crush Vivian's house, but the thought of her being a little girl, being attacked by a lion. That's horrible. You must have been terrified. What happened? How did you get away? Were you injured? I woke up. I was screaming, writhing, trying to get away from it and figure out where I was and what was happening. My dad, he came out of the tent yelling, waving his arms around, and attacked the lion. He kept hitting it in the face with the heel of his shoe, and then it dropped me and ran away. Reg blew out her breath. Wow, that's incredible. And were you hurt? No. Vivian's voice was low. I got away without a scratch. That's amazing. And things like this have been happening ever since? Yes. Attacked by a lion. You hear stuff like that every now and then in the news, but I never met anyone it happened to. People usually don't believe me. Really? Reg thought about that, then nodded. Yeah, I suppose. People never believed the stories I told as a kid. And with good reason. If someone didn't believe her gifts, then they wouldn't believe the things that had happened to her or around her. What about as an adult? Reg raised her brows. I learned to tell more believable stories, even if they weren't true. Vivian nodded. Yes, exactly. People say they want to hear the truth, but they don't. They want to hear things they believe. Starlight rubbed against Reg's chin and kneaded her legs, his sharp claws pricking her skin. Ouch! Settle down. She scratched his chin and tried to get him to be still. And you think it's getting worse? It is. I used to have time between. Things would only happen every now and then. I had time to have a life in between, to forget about it. And now things were apparently happening every day or two. So what do you want me to do? You want me to warn you what's going to happen next, or something else? Vivian rubbed her teacup as if it had smudges on it, but Reg knew it didn't. Knowing what's going to happen next doesn't seem to matter. Nothing I do seems to have any effect on the outcome. Reg nodded. Despite her warnings about the truck and the house, those things had still happened. Vivian had avoided being killed. But if things like that had been happening ever since Vivian was a little girl, then she'd already grown pretty adept at avoiding death. While Reg had initially thought that Vivian must be the unluckiest woman in the world, she had to wonder whether Vivian was actually the luckiest. How else should she avoided being killed? So, what then? I'm not sure what you want me to do for you. I was hoping that you might be able to do something to figure out why this is happening to me, what I can do to make it stop. I just want to end these accidents. Well, I'm not sure I can do anything about that. I'll try to figure out why, but that's not really in my wheelhouse. You have a bit of time? Where am I going to go? If I leave here, something bad is going to happen. Tonight, tomorrow. I don't know when, but something is going to happen. And you don't know why it's happening. There's nothing that you've done in your past. She was thinking of Jackie and the spirits that had attached to her. The things that had happened to her had been karmic. The ghost's anger, restlessness, and in the end, retribution, had been fully justified. Jackie might have thought it unfair that she had to pay for her crimes, but Reg couldn't argue with what had happened. I did something? Vivian demanded. You think that a little girl did something that justifies all this bad stuff that has happened to me? If I did something awful, it's been paid for 10 times over. I just I want to live out a normal life. I want this all to end. Sometimes people have some idea why things are happening. It's worth asking. The answer is no. I didn't do something to deserve this, Vivian said petulantly. Okay. Do you mind if I use the crystal ball? That seemed to work well the first time. Vivian nodded. Whatever would give you the clearest answer, of course. I want to know. I want some progress. I can't go on living like this. Reg nodded. She'd already put the crystal ball out on the coffee table, assuming she'd be using it at some point. So she didn't have to dislodge Starlight in order to get up and place it where she could see into it. She gazed at the crystal, initially looking deep into the depths of the glass, and then defocusing her eyes and just looking at its fuzzy, blurred shape. She buried her fingers in Starlight's fur, kneading his muscles and waiting for some insight. Okay, well, you can pick up A Whisker's Breadth for free today and the rest of this weekend. And I hope that you will enjoy it and the rest of the books in the Reg Rawlins series. And I will be back to talk to you next week.